Hello everyone, welcome to Dice Commando. So I've been playing this Jyn Cassian kind of mill kill, mostly mill deck the last week or so. I'm about ready to take it apart. So I just wanted to do a rundown of the cards that are in there. We've had several people ask for the list, some politely, some not. But either way, I wanted to run this down and just get everything out there for those that were interested. So I'm running, we'll do the upgrades first because that's just how I build decks. We have 2 Riot Shields. We have 2 Resistance Rings, and then we have 2 copies of Jyn's Blaster. This one is obviously unique, but the reason we run 2 is because getting it out is really kind of a game-winning condition. This guy really is just an effective removal card. I do want to talk about the choice to run Resistance Ring over No Answer. You'll notice No Answer is not sleeved up because I'm not running it, of course, for obvious reasons. I can see running either one, and really the reason I went with Resistance Ring is what it boils down to is when people know you're running No Answer, they play their deck different. They don't ever get rid of that last card. And I don't mind them discarding down that last card, knowing for the reroll, because it just helps my win condition, and they play a little more conservatively with No Answer, and it's kind of a chess game back and forth of playing No Answer, they don't discard. If you're playing Resistance Ring, they do. But what it really boils down to for me is this gets me an extra mill, and then it serves for a later overwrite for this one, because with this being it's primarily a mill-focused deck, or it's at least threatening the mill. So you're spending a lot of your money on removal. So I went ahead and went with really just Resistance Ring, primarily just for the upgrade slot. I realize it's only worth 1 card and that No Answer is potentially worth 4. But everybody at this point kind of knows how to play around No Answer, so once they know you're playing it, it just doesn't work. So that's why I went with No Answer. All right, going into the supports. So obviously, for obvious reasons, we're playing 2 copies of Scrap Heap. That card's crazy good with Jyn. I am playing 2 copies of Suppressive Fire, for obvious removal reasons. So I know this isn't actually a support, but it really fills the same slot. Net Trap is effectively another Suppressive Fire, right? And then obviously I'm playing Bestman Wingguard. I'm only playing 1 of them. You really only need it to close the game because Jyn Cassian, usually they only have 1 left at the end, and that Wingguard can help get cards out of hand. And sometimes just it being on the table forces people to make poor decisions. So Wingguard really is a success criteria card in the deck. I think you don't want to not play with it. All right, going into the events, let's go ahead and start with the Swing for the Fence card, which is Clandestine Operation. You only need to get this card off once per game, because generally when you get it off, it's going to be worth, well, the card itself is only worth 2 to 3 cards, but usually when you're doing it with a play, you can get 6 to 7 cards pretty easy. So obviously, Cassian has to be alive when it's going down, and that's fine for you because it's just such a massive payout. You want 2 of them. I am playing 2 Entangles. Again, that's a spot yellow, which is a Cassian problem. Obviously, that with this card, easy pickings. Cassian should be your opponent's first target. 9 times out of 10, that's the correct answer. The only time it's not a correct answer to go after Cassian is when you're playing something where you need very specific cards. And that's when Jyn's really surgical ability to go in like a knife and take away your specific cards is actually worse than Cassian. Playing 2 Hasty Exits. It's not uncommon, again, so we're playing Occupied City here for obvious reasons. It's not that uncommon that you claim early and take 2 hits because you know that you can either threaten them not to drop more dice in, or you can, I mean, that's really it. You claim early to try to threaten them, and Hasty Exit really just helps with that. Playing 2 copies of Scruffy Looking Nerf Herder. A, because it's a fantastic card name, but B, it really just goes in again with your hand and kind of slices and dices. Remember Jyn, she goes in, she looks at those top 3 cards, so you know what's in their opponent's hand sometimes, and you can go get that card that you're worried about. Playing Rebel Assault. These guys are not shy of rolling guns, so being able to remove a special or even a blank, if that's what they end up rolling, is not bad. Okay, 2 copies of Field Medic. I don't really need to explain that one. That's an effective removal. The one of is a first aid. Get that out of the glare there. It's a first aid. It only works on Jyn. You're never going to use it for the 4. It's really just an additional removal card. And then I have Flee the Scene ×2. Flee the Scene obviously can get you in trouble if you don't play it correctly. Sometimes when you're in a pinch, you just have to play it and take what comes your way, but that's when you hope that they just miss on the rerolls. So anyway, that is the deck. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 events, which is a little event heavy. But again, you are playing a mill deck here, so you're really just trying to stay alive. Do remember that when you're playing Jyn Cassian, that your ability to pivot is really your strength. I mean, that's pretty obvious, I think, with the pairing. But it's not that uncommon that when you get maybe 1 to 2 turns away from winning, start sinking damage into people because they're not going to be controlling. They're too focused on holding their cards. So you can actually start eliminating threats maybe early, but usually if you start eliminating threats in like round 3, round 4, that's when really the pressure goes on, and then your opponent just really doesn't know what to do at that point. So anyway, that's the deck. Hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and go Commando.